Hello and welcome back to Wrongmar. In today's art lesson we're taking a look at World War I propaganda. Our Walt for today's lesson is to understand the purpose and the power of propaganda during World War I. But first we have to ask ourselves, what does that word mean? I've said it 2 or 3 times now, you might have no idea what I'm talking about. What is propaganda? Pause the video and see if you can come up with a definition. Well, propaganda is the name given to information that tries to persuade people to think or behave in a certain way. In World War I, the public's opinion of the war was extremely important. The government needed men to join the army, and they needed people to work together. So, they used propaganda to encourage people to believe in and support the war. Propaganda could be found everywhere: newspapers, leaflets, films, even in speeches by important people. No matter where you went, you could not escape the grip of propaganda. Always trying to change the way you're thinking or change the way you're acting. The government needed people who really understood pictures. So, they called in the official war artists again, and they asked them to create propaganda posters. During World War I, the government released lots of posters using slogans and images which tried to encourage people to support the war, tried to encourage men to join the army, and built up hatred towards the enemy. We're going to take a look at a few different propaganda posters from World War I. All of these posters are from the British Allied side. That's really important to remember, because the pictures are for British eyes. German propaganda posters would have looked very different. As you look at these images, I want you to answer 3 questions. 1. Who is this poster aimed at? 2. What is the message that they're trying to get across? And 3. Do you think it was an effective poster? Would it have changed your mind about these things? Okay, let's take a look at our first one. So in this poster we see the slogan, "Britain needs you at once." And in the picture you can see a knight on horseback slaying a dragon. Who do you think this poster was aimed at? And what was the message? Pause the video and write down an answer. Well, this poster was aimed at men. And the message of the poster was to join the army. In the picture, you can see the legend of St. George battling a dragon, a story of bravery and courage known by all British people. You can see that the artist is trying to trick people into thinking that if they go off and fight in the war, they would be like the knights in shining armor, rescuing the country from the danger of the dragon. How effective do you think that is as a poster? Would it have convinced you to go off and fight? Here's our second poster. In this one we can see a father with his daughter on his lap and his son playing soldiers below him. And the daughter is asking, "Daddy, what did you do in the Great War?" Who do you think this is aimed at? And what is the message? Pause the video and write down an answer. Well, in this poster it's yet again aimed at men. And the message is the same. It's enlist in the army, join the army. But the reason is different this time. The last poster spoke about bravery and saving the country. This one is trying to make any man who hasn't yet enlisted feel guilty that they haven't done so. And it's kind of suggesting that their family might even be ashamed of them for not doing their part to help the country. Do you think this would have been an effective poster? Would this have convinced you to go off and fight? Alright, let's move on to our third poster. Take a look at this one. So in this poster we can see a ship on fire and sinking. We see people in the water as well who had fallen off the ship. And it says, "Irishmen, avenge the Lusitania. Join an Irish regiment today." Who do you think this is aimed at? And what is the message? Pause the video and write down the answer. Okay, so yet again, same purpose and same audience. This is aimed at men, especially Irish men, and the message is to join the army again. But again, it's a different reason to join this time. The Lusitania, in case you don't know, was for a while the world's largest passenger ship. And in 1915, she was hit by a German U-boat off the coast of Ireland. Over 1,000 people died on board. Innocent people. They weren't soldiers. And the aim of this message is to remind Irishmen about the savage attack on a defenseless ship full of women and children, to try and make them feel angry and hatred towards the enemy, and that would make them join the army. So do you think this is an effective poster? Would it have made you join? Okay, next poster. This one's a little bit different. It has the slogan, "Save the wheat and help the fleet. Eat less bread." Who do you think this was aimed at? And what's the message? Pause the video and write down an answer. So this time we have a different audience, totally different person we're aiming at. This time we're aiming a poster at women and families. And the message is, eat less so that we can save our ships. You see, at this time, Britain was importing most of its wheat, getting it from other countries and bringing it by ship. But this is really difficult, because any ships that travelled towards Britain were attacked by German ships. So this poster is saying, if women and their families could just eat less, we would lose less ships to the Germans. What do you think? Is that convincing enough for you? Would you have followed this poster's advice? Okay, our next one is a bit different. Take a look at this one. We have a poster of somebody with coins in their hands, and they're dropping them, and they're turning into bullets when they drop them. And the slogan is, "Turn your silver into bullets at the post office." Who do you think this is aimed at? And what is the message? Pause the video and write down an answer. Well, this poster is really aimed at everybody and anybody who has money. And the poster's message is to lend money to the government so they can pay for the war. During this time, the war was extremely expensive. So the government asked the people to lend them money that they could pay back when the war was finished. Kind of like an IOU. So how do you think this poster works? Is it effective? Would you have been convinced to give your money over to the government for the war? And our last poster. So we have a picture of an airplane in the air, a woman on the left hand side, and the main slogans are "More airplanes are needed," "Women come and help," "Free training," and "Maintenance allowance." Pause the video and write down what you think the audience and the message of this poster are. Okay, so our last poster is very much aimed at women. And the message is, you can help in the war effort if you go get a job in a factory to make the weapons of war. Because so many men had gone over to fight, a lot of the jobs that they used to do had to be taken over by women. They worked on the land and in factories, producing machinery, bullets, guns, and airplanes for the war. This poster is encouraging women to apply for positions building aircraft by promising benefits like free training and allowances. So you might have answered no to all of them, saying, "No way, this would not have convinced me at all." But the fact was, these art posters were extremely powerful and very effective at getting people to act in certain ways. It might seem unusual to you that a poster saying, "Give us your money," actually made people give over their money. But really, we're still doing the same thing today. All the tricks used in propaganda posters can be seen today in advertisements. So never underestimate the power of a picture. So your Walt for today was to understand the purpose and the power of propaganda. Can you do that now? That's all we have time for this week. Until next time, take care.